What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Series 12 team building video, and this time we're back with Necrozma DuskMane and Kyogre. So this is one that I've been requested with quite a bit, just because we got a lot of fans of Necrozma DuskMane for some reason. So I'm going to be building Necrozma today. I'm going to show you two types of builds that I think are good for how you want to play Necrozma, and the sets are going to be different in both types of variations. And once again, before we continue, if you are interested in team fixing, where you can submit a Pokepaste to me and I will review it, I will optimize it of the EV spreads and just make it overall better based on how I think the meta is currently. That is a tier 2 sub to the channel. So if you're interested in that, join the channel, join tier 2 sub, and just message me on Discord or Twitter and we can get started. It's only $5, very, very affordable. But if you want to go to the next level, which is tier 3, that is a team building tier 3 perk to the channel, where you and I can sit down in the Discord and build a team from scratch, where we hash out all the EVs, the items, and the movesets, maybe test it a little bit on Showdown. And if you're preparing for an upcoming tournament or an upcoming regional, this is a great way to get my feedback and to get just a full-fledged team that's built out just from scratch, just based on what I think is going to be good or strong in the current meta. So it has a tier 3 sub. That's only $10. So again, very, very affordable. So if you're interested in that same idea, join the channel and message me on Discord or Twitter. All right, now without further ado, let's just go on to Necrozma and Kyogre. So why are these two good together? Well, for one thing, Necrozma, I do want to say, the first question I always ask is, why would you use Necrozma over Solgaleo? Isn't it just a worse Solgaleo? In some ways, yes. Actually, the main way is it doesn't get full body, right? Full metal body. So you do get stat drops, which means you do get Intimidate cycled by Incineroar and Landorus for days. So that's one thing. But the two reasons why you might want to run Necrozma over Solgaleo is, one, you're slower, right? So look at your speed, 77. Solgaleo is like 90 plus. So right away, you're going to be slower in Trick Room. So you're a better Trick Room Mon, than Solgaleo. The other thing is, look at that bulk, 127 base defense and then 109 special defense. You're very, very bulky. So you do have that. And the main also thing is, yes, you don't get full metal body, but what you do get is Prism Armor. So Prism Armor, if you read it, it lets you take less damage from super effective attacks, only 3/4. So that means you can take those super effective Calyrex Shadow hits better, you can take Yveltal hits better, or any kind of max darkness hit better. So you have that going for you, and with all that bulk that you have, you can definitely live, set up your weakness policy, and set up your Trick Room, and then just potentially sweep and dynamax from there. But again, the main thing you have to worry about is Incineroar and Landorus. Well, what if you had a restricted that didn't care about Incineroar and Landorus? Enter Kyogre. So Kyogre is also really good with Solgaleo, just because you can take away the fire weakness, and you can also do really well into Landorus. So Incineroar is not going to do anything to Kyogre. It just gets one shot by Water Spout, and Origin Pulse. And Landorus, same thing. You don't want to take a water move or an ice move, which is what many Kyogres like to run. So these two have really, really good synergy together. Kyogre doesn't like taking grass moves from like something like a Rillaboom or something from like a Venusaur or a Kartana. Well, Necrozma doesn't care about grass type attacks either. Now, electric attacks, I mean, you can switch in Necrozma, but there's no like resist, but we will have other resists on the team that can help out the Kyogre. And in my opinion, Kyogre does better under Trick Room than Tailwind. Okay, that's my opinion. You could say it does better under Tailwind, but for me, I like to play it in Trick Room, because then that means you can sacrifice the speed and make the Ogre bulkier. So this way you can stay around on the field longer. And if you have Kyogre out for a long amount of time, that just means more opportunities to go for Origin Pulses and to put more pressure on the opponent. So I really like Kyogre under Trick Room. You saw me play it with Lunala under Trick Room, and it did very, very well. Same thing with Dialga. So I think the same concept can apply here with Necrozma and Kyogre. All right, so now how are we going to round out the rest of the team? So in our first build, what I think is always going to be good is something like an Incineroar, your own Incineroar, right? A fire type. And also something like a Mimikyu. Yeah, I think like Instant Mimikyu is also really nice here. Mainly because, you know, you could lead Instant Mimikyu, almost guarantee that Trick Room, and then you can pivot out into Necrozma or even Kyogre, and then they could swip under Trick Room. So I think these two are really nice. And then you need something for like a Zacian. So Instant does really well, just to be able to, you know, weaken the Zacian, and then, you know, you have fake out pressure on the team as well, so you could stop other potential mons trying to go for a potential KOing move, and then, you know, just stop it for a turn. But yeah, we all know what Incineroar does. And then Mimikyu, right? You know, you have the disguise, so you can at least take one big hit, and then, you know, you have a second Trick Room setter on the team, right? And then from here, I do like Regieleki, just to be able to have a strong electric type attack, you know, just, you know, against those flying types that are annoying, or, you know, against the opposing Kyogre, which is really nice. And this is actually going to be a Dynamax Aleki on the team, so we are going to be a Life Orb Aleki, the violent Regieleki, as I like to say. All right, so, you know, you just to be able to have this as a Dynamax option and surprise the opponent, and then just, you know, go for those big nukes, and then maybe go for the end game with Necrozma and Kyogre under Trick Room, right? And I always like to have a couple of, you know, dual modes when I have like a Kyogre and something like a slow Trick Room on, or that's like in the mid speed tier, because, you know, 77 is like kind of slow, but, you know, not that slow. So this is where we go with something like Tornadus, right? So now we have the fast mode with Kyogre Tornadus, with Dynamax Aleki, and maybe even Instant in the backbone. But then you also have Necrozma here. So Necrozma can function under Tailwind, and we can EV it where we can be faster than Calyrex Shadow under Tailwind. So this way we don't have to worry about that kind of weakness. And then you also have the slow mode with either the Necrozma Mimikyu, and then, you know, just having the Ogre in the back. So, you know, this is how I kind of like to build it here. So you have the fast mode, and then you have the slow mode, and this way it's a little bit harder for the opponent to play against you, because you have two modes of the team. Now, you can argue that you can just fully commit to the slow mode and then remove the Tornadus for something like an Amoonguss, right? So this way you have redirection on the team, and this is also really good as well. And, you know, now you've completely almost committed to the Trick Room mode, and then you still have this Dynamax Demon Aleki that can do it at any time, right? Now you can do this, and I think this is a good way to do it. This is more, we'll see the Amoonguss in the second variation of the squad that I tried to make, but for now I'm giving you one type of variation where you can go fast and slow mode with the Tornadus to really help you know, both of the teams outspeed certain threats. So yeah, this is the 6 for the first version. So let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs. We have Instant, we have Tornadus, we have Regieleki, and we have Mimikyu. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll hash out the EVs, the items in the movesets for this first variation. Then I'll show you a second type of team that I like to do with Necrozma and Kyogre, and then we'll show some damage calcs, and then from there we'll take a look at some sample battles. Okay, so let's take a look at Necrozma DuskMane's EVs for a second. So again, just like unlike Solgaleo, you are much slower, but you are also bulkier. And although you can get your stats dropped, the main thing you want to do is still go for big damage and still live the Yveltal hits and the Calyrex Shadow hits, right? So especially the Life Orb Yveltals that are starting to pop up a little bit more now than the Assault Vest, just because they're trying to go for a little bit more damage now, so we're going to also calc for that. So in terms of this, because we have the Tornadus on this team, because we're going like for a fast mode, at the very least, one way to beat the Calyrex Shadow is to outspeed it. So what you're going to do is we're going to go still with the Adamant Nature here, and we're still going to go with 112 here, because 112 under Tailwind will outspeed Calyrex Shadow, and then we can potentially KO it. But even if we can't get the KO, at the very least, we should be able to at least survive it. So one type of calc that we can do is this. But even before our defensive bulk, we want to get our attacking stat in first. So always do your speed tiers, then your attacking stat, and then your bulk, right? So let's see where the EV bump is here. And it's actually very easy to see We actually just hit it right here. So with 20 investment, you see how you go from 196 to 198. Your stat went up by 2 points, whereas everything else you just go up by 1. This is what we call an EV bump. And again, if you don't know what an EV bump is, again, just comment in the video below. We'll explain what it is. If you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, you gotta know what EV bumps are. All right, it's very important in terms of trying to do EVs for your mons. So here's the first one, and then it's every 80 EVs invested. So if you add 80 plus 20, that's 100. That's where you see the next bump. And typically, if you have the weakness policy item, okay, that's where you'll get the best bang for your buck, because you don't need to go max attack if you're using a weakness policy. You just need some attack because you're getting a boost anyway. You don't need to overkill. You rather invest in your bulk because you're getting such a big damage boost from the policy anyway. So where are we going to go from here? Let's just go all the way to 100, and you can see that, right? You went from 207 to 209. This is the second bump, and just for showing it in the video, the third bump is at 180 investment. So right here you go from 218 to 220, but we're just going to go up to 100 here. This is all we really need, and 209 is a very, very strong stat. Now again, normally I would do my moves and my items first, but this time around I'm just showing you the EVs here. And then from here you can just max the HP, to be honest, and then all you really need is this much investment in the special defense, and this is what's going to live both the Calyrex hit and the Yveltal hit, Life Orb, Max Darkness, or Phantasm plays, or even just Astral Barrage shenanigans. So really, really nice there. But now we'll do the moves, and again, normally you want to do the items and the moves first and then the EVs, but I got a little distracted and I wanted to do the EVs first. But of course, Sunsteel Strike, that's your stab move. Earthquake, really, really good, especially next to Tornadus because it's a flying type. So you don't even need to protect one slot. You can just Earthquake next to it. It's totally fine. And then from here, Trick Room, of course. And if you have a Policy Mon, Protect is always very, very good and very consistent, because this way, what you can do is protect, and then the opponent may be able to proc the policy for you if they want to go for that super effective attack to KO you. But again, Protect puts a wrench in that plan. All right, so that's our moveset here, and that's our EV spread. And we'll show the as proof of our defensive bulk against the Yveltal and the Calyrex Shadow Rider in the damage calcs. All right, from here with the Kyogre, I think the Kyogre can still function, both in fast mode and slow mode here. But we're gonna go with Water Spout, of course, then Origin Pulse, the two water moves, Ice Beam, just for those annoying Landorses and those annoying flying types, and then Protect as well. All right, now in terms of speed, I think we'll cater more to the Tornadus than we will to the Trick Room mode, but still, the idea is more or less the same. I still think we want to go for 236 investment here. Now, you only need 139 under Tailwind to outspeed a timid Regieleki, but everybody else is going to be doing that, right? So we want to outspeed them by 1, so let's go 236. So this is what we're doing. We're speed creeping the creepers, okay? All right, and then from here, honestly, just go up to the third bump in the special attacking stat. So you see you go from 218 to 220. That's the third EV bump there. And then just the remaining stuff in your bulk, and then this is our Kyogre spread. We've been using this always on a Tailwind Tornadus team. It's relatively solid and consistent. Just big damage, outspeed Aleki, and even without Tornadus, if you go for the Trick Room route, this is still pretty slow. So you can still outspeed some big threats like a Zacian or a Calyrex Shadow Rider, for instance. Now, Torn, because we are going to be Focus Sash here, all right, and it's going to be relatively standard. Tailwind for the speed boost, Hurricane, just because this is our flying stab in the rain, Brutal Swing to proc the policy on the Necrozma, and also break potential Sassage on the other Mons on the other side of the team, and then Protect, right? Ensign, again, relatively solid. Mon to have safety goggles is what we want. Flare Blitz, Fake Out, Parting Shot, and Throat Chop, right? Again, now we'll go back to the EVs in a second, but I just want to go through the team here with the move sets and the items. So again, now we're just going to go Mental Herb on the Mimikyu just in case they try to taunt you, and to stop you from going for the Trick Room. Shadow Sneak, that's Shadow Ball, sorry, to proc the policy on the Necrozma. Then Will-O-Wisp, really good in Trick Room to get the potential burns on those Groudons, those Landorses, those Zacians, things that give the team some trouble. But Will-O-Wisp is very, very important for that. Trick Room, I should say. And then Taunt, just to deny opponents from flipping their Trick Room, going for protects, or going for setup moves, or then potentially going for their Tailwind. Ideally, we can always taunt them. And then Regieleki, so this is our offensive Aleki. Again, we're just going for big amounts of damage as much as possible. Electro Web, Rising Voltage, and Hyper Beam, right? This is a Dynamax Regieleki. So we did the Necrozma here, we did the Kyogre. Let's go back for the Tornadus. This is the easiest one, honestly. Just max speed, max special attack. We are Focus Sash here, and then the last bit in special defense. The instant here, so what you can do, again, we'll still go with the careful nature. And then 84 speed is pretty solid. It'll outspeed base 100s after Tailwind, so you can potentially outspeed a Charizard and go for a parting shot, and then just ruin its day, as we say. All right, and then we'll just go all the way to the second EV bump investment in the special defense, which is 156 investment, and then just enough in the defense, so that way you can live a Zacian close combat. If you get a Intimidate drop on it, not so much common anymore, but you still want to at least respect it for the few that are running around using it. Mimikyu here, really all you want is just to go Impish here, just to be physically bulky, because you have a pretty good special defense stat, so you don't need too much there. But your defense could use some investment, so this is what we'll do. Honestly, we'll just go 228 here. This is just going to optimize our weather damage, because if you do 159 divided by 16, I believe is going to be 9.937, so that rounds down to 9 damage per turn from either Max Hailstorm or Sand Chip. So really nice in terms of that. Now all we need for the Impish nature is just to the third EV bump, which is 236 investment. All right, so here it is. See how you go from 141 to 143. So solid there. 4 points in attack, a tiny bit of special defense, and just 1 point in speed, just to outspeed other Mimikyus that don't have any speed. Could come in clutch, especially when it just comes down to Shadow Sneak Wars. So really nice there. Now Regieleki, because we have Tailwind, we can go a slower, bulkier Aleki, and the way I like to do it is just modest nature, and then have enough investment where you can survive Rillaboom, Grassy Glide, Miracle Seed 252. And you might say, well, wait a minute, Aleki's so frail, how is it going to survive Rillaboom? You'd be surprised, and I'll show you that investment. But the speed tier that you want is to outspeed an opposing Jolly Landorus when it's +1. All right, and that speed number is this, 124 investment, which gets you to 236, because Jolly Lando at 252 hits 157, and 157 times 1.5 is about 235.5, which rounds down to 235. So you need 236 to outspeed that. But other Alekis that are life are probably going to be doing that. So we ain't losing speed ties on this channel. We always win our speed ties. So we're going to just go 1 point more and outspeed those Alekis. All right, go figure. Now from here, you just want, again, third bump in the modest nature, so 236 yet again. You see how you go from 163 to 165. You skip to 164 right there. And then, honestly, just this much investment, 116 right there, and then a tiny bit of HP, and this will be pretty good for the Rillaboom. I'll show you that calc when we get to it. But yeah, this is it. So this is, again, version 1 of the squad. Again, you can swap the Tornadus for the Amoonguss and just fully commit to like the Trick Room mode, and then you have a grass move on the Amoonguss, which is relatively nice. Or you can just also just roll with this, and then this way you have a fast mode and a slow mode. All right, so let's just make a paste of this real quick, and then we'll just go ahead and look straight into the second mode, which is the one I like. Just for a reason, and I'll show you why I like version 2 a little bit more than version 1. But let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, the second way I think we should run this is we'll still keep the Necrozma, Kyogre, Incineroar on the team. But now, again, you see how we have a water type and a fire type, but we still need that grass type. And I think the Amoonguss is perfect for something like this. So the Amoonguss will give you redirection. So this way, you can set up your Trick Room, which we're going to run on the Necrozma. And then you also have a Trick Room Abuser, where you can just literally spore everything and put it to sleep. And then Necrozma and Kyogre can just do the job from there. All right. And then from here, where do you want to go? So I think something like Zapdos is really, really good. Just because now you have a flying type pivot that can help out your Incineroar and Necrozma, just in case a ground type attack is coming, like from a Groudon or a Landorus. And now with the flying type on board, now you have that option to do this as well. And then from here, the last slot here, I like Grimmsnarl, of course. Grimmsnarl just makes the team even bulkier. Just for, Necrozma already has something that boosts its bulk. Bulky as enough as it is, but we do need the Grimmsnarl support. You'll see why in a second. But again, with the Fairy Stab move, we have more answers into Palkia and to Yveltal. And then with Thunder Wave, we have even more speed control and the chance of hacks, as many infamously either like or don't like. And then the Ogre this time around is going to be slower but bulkier, and you'll see how we do that in a second. But I prefer this version of the team over the first one, just because it plays slower and it plays bulkier and a little bit more flexible in terms of defensive pivoting. Rather than just sitting there under Tailwind and going burr, right? So I do like this one. So let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs. So we have Zapdos, we have the Amoonguss, and we have the Grimmsnarl. Everything else is the same from the other one, except the spreads are going to be different, because the items and the movesets are going to be a little bit different. So I guess it's not the same, but we have the same 3 bonds from the previous version. So let's see how we do the EVs here. Okay, so for Necrozma here, notice that we don't really have a weakness policy activator, and that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go Life Orb Necrozma DuskMane, and the advantage here is unlike the weakness policy, we can pressure with immediate damage right from the get-go. We don't need a self-proc, so that's always really, really nice. And we get the benefit of having a little bit more options on the team as opposed to the Tornadus, which other than clicking Tailwind doesn't really offer that too much to the team, with maybe the occasional Hurricane against the grass types. But with the options of like Amoonguss, Zapdos, Grimmsnarl, this core better helps the Necrozma and the Kyogre, honestly. So let's just go Sunsteel Strike, of course. Earthquake still, which is really, really nice next to Zapdos, because you can go for Airstreams, and then also Earthquake next to Zapdos. So again, really, really nice. I still like Trick Room on this, because then that pairs really well with the Amoonguss, if you choose to use that as a lead. Now, we don't have the weakness policy. Now, we can go what I believe is 2 good moves here. We can go Rock Slide. So this way we have something else to hit flying types with, and also a spread move. But I think Swords Dance is also really, really good here, because you have that redirection support. And this way, in case Incineroars come in, and if they try and intimidate you, or even like Landuses or Parting Shots or whatever, you can just Swords Dance up and sort of neutralize their pivoting, and then catch them out of position, and then just smash them with your +1s or +2s from the Swords Dance. Okay, so that's what we want here. The Kyogre, we're gonna go Assault Vest Kyogre this time around. So we're being even bulkier with the Grimmsnarl support, which means now we're gonna have Water Spout, Origin Pulse, both Thunder and Ice Beam. So sometimes there's games where like if you have Ice Beam, you wish you really, really had Thunder, and then there's games where you have Ice Beam, but then you also say you really, really want Thunder. But now you get both. All right, so now you have both Thunder and Ice Beam. And we have some extra bulk with the Assault Vest. I know we can't protect, but with the Steel Spike and the Quake bonuses from Necrozma, and with the Intimidate support, and with the Grimmsnarl screens, and also with the redirection, I think Kyogre can manage and stay on the field for a little bit longer, if you know what I mean. The Instant stays the same. The Amoonguss Focus Sash here. Okay, and then we have Rage Powder, and then Spore. And then we do need Giga Drain. So, unlike the other team, we didn't really have a grass move. And I feel like something like Gastrodon can really give this team a little bit of trouble, just because there's no grass move on the Necrozma, Kyogre, nothing on the Zapdos and Grimm. Now, you can Spirit Break it, but again, you kind of want to remove the Gastrodon, and something like a Giga Drain or something like Seed Bomb, or even like Grass Knot. These are all like viable options. I think I like Giga Drain just because you can get health back, and then, just get get back to full and get your focus sash back. So I really like that. Alright, so yeah, I think a grass move is very much needed, which is something that the first version didn't have, but it offers a little bit more pressure than this version, but still, this is a little bit more flexible in terms of staying bulky and having more options that you can do with the team. Zapdos here. So we're gonna go static. You know, really good against, you know, physical mons like a Zacian. You know, the chance of power hacks with Behemoth Blade into the Zapdos can win you the game, like, in all honesty. So here, you know, we have the goggles on the Incin. I think what we want actually is to put the Citrus Berry on this. And then put the goggles on the Zapdos. You know, this way, you know, we're not bothered with an opposing Amoonguss or Venusaur, and then we can just hit him hard with the Airstream boost, which I think is cool. All right, Thunderbolt, Hurricane, and we're gonna go with another tech here, Eerie Impulse. We're gonna go bulky Zapdos and then Roost. So then we can also have this as an endgame option if we need to. Grimmsnarl, more or less the same idea. Light Clay. Let's Light Ball, I always do that sometimes. Light Clay, Spirit Break, Light Screen, Reflect, Thunder Wave. It's really good. Alright, so I believe we got all the items here, right? And only the Incin has a spread. Okay, cool. So we got our 6. So now let's just go ahead and do the EVs, the items, and I'm sorry, the EVs. We already did the items. Okay, so with Necrozma, now because we're running slower, we don't need as much speed as last time. So last time we were going for 112, right? Just because, you know, you want to be able to outspeed those Calyrexes. But this time around, we're not going to be worrying about that. We're going to take all this speed investment and we're going to invest more into the attacking stat and the bulk. Because last time you saw that, you know, we only went to about 100. But that's because we had the weakness policy. Now what we're going to do is invest more in the attack to compensate the loss of the weakness policy proc. And then it's still fine because we have the life orb for pressure there. So what we're going to do here is we're still going to invest a lot more in HP, and I think a good number is this. So up to 199. This is just to optimize life orb chip, because if you read what life orb does, you lose 1/10 of your HP. So 199 divided by 10 is 19.9, which rounds down to 19 damage per turn. If I break the threshold and if I go to 200, now I'm taking 20 damage per turn for my life orb. Why would I do that? Why would I want to take more damage per turn? So let's undercut the threshold and let's go to 199. This is why we do it. And then from here, honestly, we just want a little bit more attack, so let's go 180. So this is the third bump here. This is all we need. 220 with life orb is very good. That hits like a truck, especially in Dynamax format. And then the rest you can just put in special defense here. So again, more resistance against those special attacking dark moves from the life orb Yveltal or the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Really good. Now we don't have any points in defense, but that's okay. We have more than enough bulk with the HP. And we're going for steel spikes, and now we have the Grimmsnarl screen support, so we're fine in terms of being a bulky Necrozma DuskMane. Now Kyogre, so now we can go bulkier and slower. We don't have to invest so much in speed, but still we're gonna go modest nature here as soon as this pops up. Yeah, there we go. So modest natured Kyogre. All right, now 20 investment just to outspeed the 112s that are trying to, you know, get the +1 airstreams, to outspeed base 100s, and to outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider. We'll go 113 just to outspeed them. And then, you know, after 2 airstreams, we can outspeed the Shadow Rider, but Zapdos airstream with Kyogre to outspeed Charizard is really nice. So that's great. From here, we can just go second EV bump in the special attacking stat. So 156 is what we want. So now we're at 209. And then from here, 132 with, you know, just for extra bulk. I think I might go to 130, 191 actually, just for that hail chip. And then from here, you know, we'll just go odd number in the, even number in the special defense, just so that when we get a Quake boost, it's a nice even number instead of an odd number, which will round it down. So we have a little bit of there, and then over here, just extra defense, and this is really good against stuff like, you know, Zacian Play Roughs or Rillabooms, or, you know, Thunderuses that want to go for, you know, wild charges. or even max lightnings. Really nice. And again, we have the intimidates, we have the screens. Kyogre is very bulky on this team and still does pretty good damage, so there's always that. Ensign we've already done and covered. Amoonguss, now again, more or less the same kind of Amoonguss spread we've been doing. All we're gonna do is just go relaxed natured here. So extra defense, again, no speed. We want it to be a Trick Room Abuser, and then just honestly just be a very bulky Shroom. And we're just gonna go into the second bump here, and then the rest just gets dumped into special defense. This 219 HP stat, this is to optimize your regenerator recovery, because you're getting 1/3 of your HP back. So if you do 219, a third of that, you get a nice whole number when you switch it out instead of decimals, which would round it down. So you don't want that. So this way you don't waste your EVs. So really good Amoonguss spread there. Zapdos, so Zapdos, we're gonna be a little bit different here. So we're gonna be a modest Zapdos, because we don't really have the Life Orb anymore. So we're gonna be a slower Zapdos. I'll give you two options for the Zapdos. You can go something like this, where you can go 204 and outspeed Venusaur, and just go for Airstreams, just take it away with the Rain, with the Kyogre, and then just go 116 special attack. Just hit the bump there, so you're at 176. Then you just dump the rest, something like this. And then boom, 187 HP stat. So this is like the leftovers into bulk. Now you can do this, or if you don't like the extra bulk, honestly, you can just do it like this. You can just go timid and just literally do this. And this is totally fine. Like, you can still do 252 Zapdos. And just in case you don't want to lose the speed ties to Charizards, but you do to get an Eerie Impulse off is really nice, I would say, in my humble opinion, right? So I'll give you those two options. So if you want to do that, then there it is. But yeah, Grimmsnarl, same kind of Grimmsnarl spread that we've been running. The main idea is to live the Zacian Behemoth Blade with Reflect and Intimidate, pivoting in from the Incineroar on the opposing slot. So 12 speed here, and then just getting to the bump here, 191 to 121. This is the bump. Then the attack, 156 investment, and then 220 points in the HP. This is Joe's spread, and it's also mine. I like it a lot, so I've always been using it. But yeah, this is it. So again, it's Zapdos. If you like this one or you like the other one, definitely give it a go. But yeah, this is our bulkier, slower, more controlled version of our Necrozma DuskMane squad. So let me know what you think of this, but I do want to test it out in at least one battle. But let's just show you some damage calcs just to show you what we've been doing, and that there's actual proof and validity in our calcs. Okay, so this is our weakness policy set going up against Life Orb Calyrex with the Astral Barrage. And again, that doesn't kill, so look at that. So it does at most 92.6%. And again, that's not enough for Necrozma, so that's really good, the fact that we can live that with our investment. And then let's show like a Life Orb Yveltal set. So let's just go something like this, where we have blank set. All right, let's just really quickly do it. And then 252, and then let's just go like a timid set, because that's usually what they want to do if they're Life Orb. All right, Life Orb, and then of course Dark Aura for Yveltal, and the one that we want is the Dark Pulse, because that's usually what they want to run if they're Life Orb. So Dark Pulse doesn't kill, so that's really good. And then if we're both Dynamax, then again, Max Darkness, 75% at max, so it does a lot, but not quite enough. And then if we have a +2 weakness policy boost, then we're also doing very well, because then we have a Steel Spike boost. So really good, the fact that we can live both. So I'll show you the Life Orb spread now. So let's take a look at that one. So Necrozma with our Life Orb. Where is that? Yeah, there's our Life Orb set. So even better, the fact that we can live the Darkness, max, and no max. Dark Pulse, again, just about a little under 90%, so that's still very good. The fact that we can live that with thanks to Prism Armor, Again, that's Timid set. Now back to the Calyrex. If it is running a Life Orb set, which not many are. Again, more or less the same idea, so just about 90%. So really, really good. The fact that we can live that in both hits and both spreads. So you have proof now that Calyrex can live. Okay, so this is our bulky Kyogre here. So notice with Grassy Glide, again, without any Intimidate or Reflect, it's still a pretty solid roll. Now, if we do have the Reflect, we definitely live the Grassy Glide, so that's really, really nice. And if we get the Reflect and an Intimidate off, then now not only Wood Hammer doesn't kill it now anymore. So that's really, really nice if we can get the Reflect and the Intimidate off. And then I don't know too many Rillabooms that want to click the Wood Hammer over the Grassy Glide. It depends on the situation, right? But really good that we can live that. What about like a Regieleki? You know, let's just go like a season's a Life Orb Alecki set, so something like Timid, Rising Voltage. Again, not gonna kill. All right. If it Dynamaxes, excuse me. That one can kill, but again, you have Light Screen, so then you can support it there, which is really, really nice. Now, if it was Modest. So we also live the Max Lightning if it was Modest. So really, really nice if we can live Alecki stuff. Now, what if it was like 252? I don't know too many that are going to do this. So yeah, also pretty cool. Again, Dynamax Alecki not being able to kill the Ogre. So really cool. And I think that's one I want from the... I guess maybe I can try Thunder. Yeah, like Life Orb Thunder. Alright, does that kill through Light Screen? Or does that go through... No, it doesn't. So what about... you know, without it? Yeah, just only 69%, so not bad. You know, Kyogre's living a lot of things here, so really, really good. Now let's just go ahead and look at something like the Instant, just one calc there. So this is Incineroar. Notice how like it dies to pretty much any fighting move from Zacian if it's normal, standard Zacian, but if you Intimidate it, now you live everything. You live the close combat, and you live Sacred Sword, and if you have Reflect, oh, even better. Sacred Sword doesn't even do 50%, so really, really good there. Yeah, just having some bulk on this team is really good. Grimmsnarl just changes the game. That's all I have to say. But yeah, now let's just take a look at a couple battles where we can use both of these. All right, this is just dumb. I mean, he's got the Yveltal and Ho-Oh and the Milotic here, so three things weak to Alecki. Honestly, his Alecki slot should be at least something like a Raichu. This way, you know, there's at least some doubt of trying to bring an Alecki here, but honestly, you know, just leading something like Instant Alecki is pretty good. I don't even care if he brings the Milotic here because you can just one-shot the Milotic. Alright, so he goes with Alecki Milotic. Very interesting. And I go with my Alecki. So all you have to do is just fake out this thing and blast the Milotic. Now, he could protect the Milotic, which is actually something that he does. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. But look how much damage the Life Orb Alecki does to Milotic through the protect. That's still really good damage. And now we get the terrain up. And now he actually just goes into Whimsicott. So he goes for bounce. That's interesting. And look at that. Life Orb Alecki just takes out Whimsicott. Not very effective. Doesn't even matter. So, I mean, he brings back the Milotic. He protects again. So good play. But again, he forgets I have the terrain up. So that just kills him anyway. And now, parting shot into the Alecki. To trap the Alecki in, here comes Mimikyu. We can go for an endgame Trick Room now if we need, but he just forfeits. So Dynamax Alecki is just so good. If you see the moment where you can just take over the game with Max Alecki, go for it. Let's take a look at another. Okay, so that's a cool team. He's got Trick Room mode on the team, but everything else is interesting. I understand Indeedee and Pheromosa. I don't know why he's got the Giratina. I think that's pretty good against like weather teams. I don't know what's up with the Metagross. But yeah, and I guess the Centiskorch is good for Zacian, but this is pretty weird. So honestly, I'm just going to, you know, go for a normal lead here. Just go Instant and go Alecki here yet again. And I just want to remove the Indeedee. I don't really care too much about the Calyrex because I intimidated it already. So you might even switch that out, but I'd rather just remove the Indeedee and not have to deal with redirection for the rest of the game. Yeah, see, there it is. Now, if he sets up Trick Room, which he's definitely going for because he didn't protect, this is still okay. So he maxes the Metagross, still fine. Glacial lands, again, we have a bulky Alecki, we don't die. We parting shot the Calyrex. We're going to Tornadus just in case the Metagross wants to go for a Quake. but he quakes the Alecki instead. So that's okay. Because Alecki did his job. Now we have the Necrozma. He goes into Giratina. I don't want a Brutal Swing because then that procs the Metagross's policy. So I'm just going to max anyway and then just get all my boosts and then proc the policy later. He switches into Giratina, but again, we get a Steel Spike off. And now we have a defense boost, so we're chilling against the Metagross and the Giratina here. Alright, so now a parting shot. Now we weaken the Giratina as well. Now it's -2. We go into the Tornadus just in case he goes for a Quake there, but he goes for a Steel Spike. Doesn't do anything, and then he just goes for the Poltergeist. That was the wrong play because now that was a very weak Poltergeist. Now he just procced my policy, and now I'm just gonna hit him hard here. Now he does have defense boost, which makes it a little bit harder to hit. But yeah, Shadow Sneak, I don't know what that does to Necrozma. But yeah, down goes the Giratina, and now we're basically +3. The Calyrex can't kill us anymore. We still have Vincent in the back, so we're just kind of chilling here. Okay, so I'm just gonna switch into Instant right now and intimidate him, and he does protect, which is a good play. Now the Metagross, I don't know what he does here, but he actually just goes for Earthquake. He actually has Earthquake instead of Stomping Tantrum. That kills my Instant, but now I can just bring in the Torn, which is gonna go for Inaccurate Hurricanes, but that's okay. I mean, the Calyrex, he has the Babiri Berry, good against Zacian. He gets his Trick Room up again. But that's okay because his Glacial Lance can't kill Necrozma, and Metagross can't do anything to Necrozma either. And now we just flip the Trick Room back on him. He goes for Protect, but that's still fine. We chip the Metagross here, and I'm just going to go for an Earthquake. I know he can't kill me even with this policy boost. Necrozma is just going to be chilling here even if he goes for Earthquake. I mean, the Rock Slide's not going to do anything. Now he protects the Metagross, but again, I just care about the Calyrex, so I just give him the Earthquake of my own. That crit doesn't matter. And now we just kill the Metagross with everything that we have left. So, cool team. But Necrozma, with all the boosts, did the job. So now let's look at the other version. Alright, so this one's another Trick Room team with Calyrex. And he also has Kyogre this time. So Calyrex, Kyogre. We have Necrozma, Kyogre. So some similarities. we both have a Redirection Mon. He's got Incineroar. He has a Trick Room setter with the Oranguru, but he also has the Urshifu, so that's probably against the Calyrex, but again, we should still be fine here. So he goes with Indeedee and the Oranguru. I'm going to go with Necrozma and Kyogre. Just put the pressure on him right away, right from the get-go. Again, this is our AV Kyogre here, so he goes for Follow Me. That doesn't matter. We just go for the Spout anyway. And there's my Sunsteel Strike. And he does go for a Trick Room. I could have easily Trick Roomed him right back, so this way he flips it, but, you know, it's okay. So this is a good time to pivot into my Incineroar and still go for, you know, some damage here. He does go for high horsepower. He gets the crit and he actually kills my Incin. So unfortunate there. Goes for Instruct. He goes for horsepower again, but still doesn't do that much. I go for Origin Pulse. We take out the Oranguru and the Calyrex takes a lot of damage. And now he goes into his own Ogre. I have an Amoonguss. Guess what? I go for Spore, which is totally fine here. The Kyogre might even go for Ice Beam, but look how much power Thunder has on the Kyogre. This is why AV Kyogre is pretty good. Now we can just Spore this Kyogre, and we pretty much win from here. He does get the one-turn Wake, which just kills my Amoonguss, unfortunately. Alright, but we do get to kill the Kyogre. Now you might say that might be a mistake because I just slept it. I could have gone for Origin Pulse and maybe, you know, deal even more damage to the Calyrex, but it's still okay. Now it's just, we just gang up on it. Now we go into Necrozma, and there's not much he can do because we still have our Dynamax. He gets another crit, but we just Steel Spike and we just remove it, and we win the game from here. So he got a couple crits, none of it mattered. Solid win. So again, this is version 1 of the team where you have the fast mode with the Tornadus, which is pretty good for Necrozma and Kyogre if you want that fast mode. You have the Instant Mimikyu combo for the Necrozma, and we have the Dynamax Regieleki if you want to go for it, but I much prefer version 2 where you have the Amoonguss, Grimmsnarl, and Zapdos support. So Eerie Impulse is really nice against stuff like Dialga and Palkia. Really good against opposing Calyrexes. Again, if you want the bulky Zapdos, the bulky modest Zapdos, definitely go for that one. But you have also Grimmsnarl support with the screens. You have the Amoonguss for Spore shenanigans. And now you have a Grass move against Gastrodon if the time calls for it. AV Kyogre is really good, especially if you can get boost from Necrozma. which is also really, really nice. And the Assault Vest just helps you live like, you know, thunders from everything. So definitely give that a go. And then you have Incineroar here just for like Intimidate, Fake Out Pressure, Parting Shot, Pivoting. Really, really good. Now, again, that being said, with both teams, you know, if you just swap out for Solgaleo, team is already better. But if you say, you know what, Necrozma is my favorite, and I really want to use Necrozma, DuskMane that is, then this is it. I would just go with any of these two versions. Now, again, you can go the Aleki in this slot, which is good, but then you have 3 ground weeks and then no airstream, so I don't like that much. This one, you can also go like Amoonguss here instead of the Tornadus, and then just commit more to the slow mode, and then just go slower Kyogre here. So I think that works too. And that might even be version 3. I'll even put that in the video description if you prefer that version. But yeah, I think all 3 can work very, very well depending on the player. So definitely consider your options and let me know which one you're gonna try and what you think of both these teams, and we'll probably make this a rental code for the month of April as it's coming up. So that's it for now, guys. We'll be back with another Series 12 video. But again, before we go, definitely consider joining the channel. Tier 2 sub, team fixing, where you can send me a pace. I'll optimize and fix up the spreads. It's only $5, so definitely worth it. And then tier 3 is the team building one, $10, where you and I, we can sit in a Discord call and then just hash out the EVs and whatnot, and then maybe test it out in some showdown battles a little bit. So if you're interested in team fixing or team building, definitely check out the channel perks and then just join it, and then message me on Discord when you're ready. So now, again, we'll be back with another Series 12 video. Until next time, have a good one.